What's up, guys? This is Justin with IGN. I'm here with Steve Butts.
Hi, Justin.
Big strategy gamer.
Yeah.
Longtime PC gamer. And we're taking a look at XCOM. But there's a twist here, Steve.
What?
We are playing XCOM on an iPad.
Oh my gosh, you didn't prepare me for this twist.
That's not true at all. You literally have written down bullet point notes in front of you, in fact. No, this is very exciting. This is a big deal because, they've been talking about XCOM coming to the iPad for a while, and they've been saying, look, it's the same game, it's a complete port, but the proof is sort of in the pudding. Look, can they pull it off? Does it really deliver? We are going to have a full review on IGN soon, done by Mr. Butts, who did the original PC and console review.
Hey, that's me.
But for now, we just kind of wanted to take a look at, the game in action, since it is, coming out very, very soon. You never miss. Yeah, I get those 68% chances to hit. It's just such a good feeling. Steve, so you reviewed the game on consoles and PC. You liked it a lot, an awful lot.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk a little bit about, what makes XCOM special? Not specifically the iPad port, but just briefly, if someone's new to this franchise, why it's a big deal.
Yeah, so XCOM was sort of born out of this late 80s, early 90s alien paranoia, and it positions all that within the scope of a tactical game, which you see Justin playing here, where you have soldiers, and in a turn-based format, they negotiate the battlefield, they hide behind cover, they seek out and hunt down these aliens, and the powers that they have can be very inventive. At first, you've just got pistols and rifles, but as you uncover alien tech, you get cool new laser weapons and cool new vehicles and cool new psionic abilities, even, which give your troopers even more options on the battlefield. The second half of XCOM is a management-style game where you're actually the leader of the whole organization that's tasked with fighting back the alien invasion. And there you're going to have to grapple with limited resources. You never have enough time. You never have enough money. You never have enough space to do the things you want to do. So you have to make hard decisions about how you approach this game, what sort of strategy you want to use to defeat the aliens. So it's miraculously open-ended.
Yeah. XCOM, this is a re-envisioning of, the sort of classic XCOM.
Right.
Some fans were not wild about sort of, the dumbing down or whatever you want to call it. Did you feel that way? Or, I don't want to speak for you, but, you sort of saw it as maybe just sort of a smart evolution of, it's modern day. You got to treat games like they're modern.
Sure. It's definitely made some concessions to reaching a larger market, particularly on the consoles. I felt one of the cool things about XCOM originally was that you could really screw things up. That was a really, really important part of the original game. And I felt that way about the console game, but I feel like they missed the boat a little bit in terms of the trial and error nature of it. It was a little harder sometimes to recover from the errors you made. And you're asked to make a lot of decisions about your priorities before you really have enough information to make the right call. So
sure,
it's best to sort of think of your first game as a wash. Like, I'm just going to play this game just to figure out how things work, and I know I'm not going to do well.
Yeah, this is going to go poorly.
Yeah, but by your second or third game, you kind of got a handle on it. You know what your research priorities are. You know what's smart to spend money on and what's a waste of money, and can kind of learn to play the game a little better your third or fourth time through.
Yeah, I completely agree. So we're playing on an iPad here, and the first thing, this is obviously not the PC game on high settings,
sure,
right?
Sure.
Like, I think it looks fine. I think it looks serviceable. I think it looks competent. But these are not, incredibly generous adjectives, right?
Right.
When I look at the textures and when I look at some of the other stuff, just the environmental detail, I don't know that we've seen any of it here, but some of those effects, some of that stuff is just missing, and that's a concession that they had to do to get this working on the iPad. It's also worth pointing out that this is iPad only. I don't think that's for necessarily horsepower reasons. I think it's more like you need the big screen just for the tactical nature of the gameplay.
Yeah, it's a real estate issue. There's so much going on the screen right now. And you're right, it's not a beautiful game like Infinity Blade or whatever, but look at all the things that are here, right?
Yeah.
They really have to sort of, not dumb it down necessarily, but they've got to manage a lot of different assets in this game, and I think it looks fantastic for what it is.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just think, I think 2K almost in some ways set themselves up for, they're like, no, this is exactly what you experienced on PC. So the moment that anything's missing or it's not running on ultra settings, people might be upset. But yeah, this is a good looking game. We are playing on a touch screen, so let me talk about that a little bit. Selecting a unit is as simple as tapping on them. Tap, tap. You can also swipe down in the corner. Oh, look, Steve Butts is
that's
back.
me. That's me. I'm cowering, just like I would in real life.
No, you guys, I'll just hold things. I'll hold it down back here.
Right.
You go sneak ahead.
I got these barrels. These barrels are covered.
Whatever else happens, this barrel situation back here is under control. So you can swipe down in this corner to, swipe between your guys, or you can tap to sort of swipe, to choose different units. And that's sort of the theme. I'm very early. This is a second mission, so I don't know too much how I'm going to feel about the controls long term. But my immediate reaction is they really give you a couple ways to do anything. Like, I've selected Steve Butts, and I can tap where I want him to move. So I tapped there, and then he's going to move there. Or I can drag where I want him to move, and then once he's there, I can double tap to have him move there. So double tap like that, and he'll just move. Or there is that move button if you are really paying attention. Let me move Steve again. And so now there's a move button down in the corner, and I can tap that to have him move. So really most options, depending on which style of sort of touchscreen gamer you are, you sort of have it at your disposal. You can, something that's a little bit not quite as refined is sort of the camera controls. So I can pinch to zoom, but you only get the 2 levels. You're either here or you're here.
Oh, right.
And I think, is that the same as the PC game, or could you add a lot of fine grain sort of control over it? I don't remember for sure.
Not that
much. And you're supposed to be able to, you're not going to be able to see this on the video, but what I'm trying to do is rotate my fingers to rotate the camera. There it goes.
There you go. It's a little tricky, it seems like.
And it often just doesn't seem to register. You can get it to work. It's not like it's impossible, but it's not as responsive as, the tapping controls and all that stuff feel fine. You can swipe 2 fingers up and down to move between different levels of the environment if you want somebody, moved up to your roof, for example. Other than that, this is XCOM.
Well, this is one of those games from 2012, like Hotline Miami or FTL, where we saw it on the PC and said, this should absolutely be on tablets. Like, This is exactly the right sort of game for that platform.
Yep.
So it's good to see this finally coming to fruition here.
Who did I leave out in the open? I think it was Damon Hatfield. Ooh.
I got that crate held down, though. That crate is totally safe.
Don't worry about it. I got your back. So this is a direct port of the PC game. I really want to emphasize that. This isn't, they didn't take out the, character progression. They didn't take out, any sort of your tactical options. It's still all about, like, slowly creeping forward and moving your guys into Overwatch. And I think that's sort of what the tutorial is taking us through right now.
And what we're not seeing here is the base management stuff, but that's all the same as it was on the consoles.
Yep,
and the PC
exactly.
As well.
What it doesn't have is it doesn't have Slingshot. It's sort of whatever came with the base game. Slingshot, I think there was one other little, free DLC pack or something like that, and it doesn't include any of that. And to make this fit on tablets, space-wise, it's already huge. It's already actually over 2 gigabytes when it's installed.
Gosh,
I
that's
know.
Gigantic on a tablet.
It is. So to get this game to fit on tablets, they had to make a couple of concessions. The first is, the textures are obviously a little bit lower quality. It doesn't include Slingshot. It doesn't include Second Wave. Some of those other add-ons that came out. This is sort of the base XCOM that you got if you if you first sort of downloaded the game. But the big thing that it excludes is just the pool of maps is smaller. Mm-hmm. So the base XCOM came with, I don't know the exact number. I think it came with something like 80 maps. And then when you would choose a mission, you would dive into a map and you wouldn't know which one you were going to get. It pulled one from the pool and gave it to you. Right. This time around, there's just a smaller pool. And what 2K told me is there's still a big enough pool of maps that you'll never see the same one in a campaign. Unless you grind, unless you do some of that, you might start to get repeats. So hopefully that map issue won't be a major issue, but, it is something to keep in mind. So we are going to have a full review of XCOM that'll answer those sorts of questions. And, Steve, you're going to sort of figure out whether the controls do or don't work for you. Right. But, again, we didn't want to waste any time sort of letting people know that XCOM is coming to iPad this week. So far, I'm impressed.
Yeah, if you liked it on the PC or the console, there's no reason that you won't like this version as well. I mean, like you said, the textures are a little, well, let's not say a little. They're a lot rest down. But yeah, I mean, all the gameplay is here. It's fantastic.
Touch controls seem fine with the exception of sort of swiping, rotating the camera 90 degrees. Otherwise, I'm very impressed with this. So we don't have a final price yet. What we're hearing from, a few different people is $20, but you don't really know what it's going to be until, the moment it goes live on the App Store. $19.99, that's a bold price. It's a $40 PC game, right? So anybody that's too upset with that needs to kind of check themselves. Like, I think people are used to, they want it to be $5. They want tablet games to be very cheap. We are hearing $20 on this, but we'll see, tomorrow when the game goes live. But yeah, that's sort of a quick look at what 2K, and the port was done by 2K China, what those guys have been, the wizards over there have been sort of shrinking down iPad onto the tablet. Thief? Steve.
Steve, right.
We're getting there. Steve, thank you for taking a look at XCOM on the iPad with me.
Thank you, Justin.
Everyone at home, thank you for tuning in. We're always kind of spotlighting the newest, hottest mobile games on IGN, so make sure you're keeping it locked to youtube.com/IGN Mobile Games and IGN.com/wireless.